I have lost this battle. There really isn't enough I can tell you that you haven't already been privy to when it comes to Ridley Scott's 1979 Alien. This film broke every single cinematic barrier you can possibly think of. And that is pretty damn good considering this movie started with a very B-grade concept, with a rather B-grade script, and just with an overall B-grade feeling. But then, it also shows you just how valuable competent talent can be. One, you have Ridley Scott. Now, his work in recent years has been quite left up to being desired, but the man has a sharp eye, and he knows how to use his actors. Two, the actors themselves. Look, I can't think of anybody else who would be better in the roles in this movie, especially, of course, Sigourney Weaver's Ripley. Sigourney Weaver and her character once again broke every single barrier you can possibly think of when it comes to women being in horror/science fiction films. Because very recently up until this point, women were portrayed as damsels in distress who screamed and fell into the monster's arms in a faint. Ellen Ripley is not like that, for multiple reasons, and I'll get into that very quickly. You have a wonderful set of creative hands and eyes and ears working on the set of the movie. Half of this film's value comes from the visual and the oral appeal of it. It is just so beautifully crafted. It's just a perfect storm of creativity combined with class. Alien has sometimes been called as the Gucci of science fiction and horror films. They credit it with being one of the greatest of the genre, while I like to think it's one step above that. It's just one of the finest movies ever made. Simple as that. And it is because of everybody in front of and behind the camera just working together to create this wonderful beast. And of course, you have the creative concept by H.R. Giger. If you have seen Giger's work, you will know that he has a strong sort of disposition towards sexuality and horror and death, and sort of like melding all of these elements in between. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to post some of his images here. That is, truth be told, they're not very safe for work, so in case you have any kids or your bosses like sort of hanging around, make sure you're not looking at these pictures, okay? I'm going to show you just how twisted Giger's mind was, and it truly is to the benefit of this movie. Now, the xenomorph itself, as I already explained, is just an abomination. It is a Lovecraftian, demonic, undescribable beast that is at the same time familiar as it is strange. Alien is just... it has earned every single one of its praises, and just every single film class that you go to will have Alien as some sort of, part of the curriculum, because of it really is a masterclass in how to make a really good movie with what could have been a very sort of, mediocre conception. So, as I said, Ellen Ripley is one of the greatest characters ever. She defied the convention, and she reshaped the paradigm of how women are in movies. Ellen Ripley is not some sort of badass, butt-kicking heroine who just goes in there full gusto. No, Ellen Ripley is just a regular human being just doing her job. She is a space trucker. She's a very sort of blue-collar, very down-to-earth and very sort of pragmatic woman who works in mining. She's just like you and me, basically. There's nothing truly remarkable about her, what she does. Now, obviously, Sigourney Weaver is just flat-out gorgeous. We all know that. But her appearance does not influence who she is as a character. It does not inform us of her temperament. a lot of what Ripley is comes from Sigourney Weaver. And Sigourney Weaver is just a paragon of how wonderful a woman can truly be if she is given the right necessary work. Just think about this. Originally, Ripley was conceptualized as a male character, but I believe it was Ridley Scott who decided to change the sex of the character. And then the character went through a couple of iterations. Like at one point she was in a sexual relationship with Dallas, played by Tom Skerritt, but they decided to drop the idea because it was far too impractical and this wasn't what the movie was all about. This movie was about terrifying the daylights out of you. And as I said, Ellen Ripley just sort of set the standard of what a powerful woman in a movie should be like. She isn't invincible, she is scared and she's vulnerable, but at the same time, she is decisive and she is intelligent. She doesn't rush headlong into danger with no concern for herself and others. No. She weighs the possibilities, and while she is so reluctant to go into battle with this creature, she does so out of necessity. She doesn't go looking for a fight. She wants to get off the spaceship. She doesn't want to be on there like going fist to claw with this unbeatable creature. She's realistic. And that realism and that vulnerability to the character is what truly connects you to her. And once again, this is Sigourney Weaver here. This isn't just writing on paper. This is a physical actor, sort of giving her interpretation of this character. Look, I'm just stumbling over myself because she's just so wonderful. And anybody who says that she isn't a good character, who says that she isn't strong, or she's fake, or she's ridiculous, are kidding themselves. So, yeah. A lot of Alien just comes from the people. Now, truth be told, one of the greatest strengths about this movie is not necessarily the creature, is not necessarily the characters, it is because of the music. The music in this movie is unlike anything that turns up in horror scores these days. Horror concentrates on the jump scare. It doesn't earn the responses from the audience. So, the musical score in this movie is unlike anything you've probably heard. There is something so off-putting and suspenseful about it, but it's not sort of breathing heavily down your neck. It's actually quite pleasant. And that's perhaps the most oddest thing. Like, there's nothing that says, "Ooh, big bad alien." No, it's not like that. It is very subtle. It gets under your skin. And I remember at some point saying that the score to Alien is like an alien language in itself. It is communicating with you. And you don't necessarily understand it, and maybe you're not supposed to. Alien truly is alien. It's intangible, it's unidentifiable, but at the same time, it is so intriguing and it just draws you in. Every time I watch this movie, I feel like I'm being gripped by the neck. And I am being sort of slowly pulled down into an abyss. A black, frightening, almost Lovecraftian abyss. On the other side, who knows what's there? Will you find answers? Will you find madness? The music in this movie just gives you that sensation of unease. It's one of the finest scores ever written, and it's used to such wonderful and sparing effect. I really can't give you any other sort of information about this movie that you don't already know. Alien to me is an emotional and visceral experience. And when a film is able to do that, when it is able to burrow down into the public consciousness and impregnate your mind like the facehugger does with its victims, that's when you know a film has transcended, the convention. Alien truly is a game changer. It's a rule breaker. Nothing is for certain in this movie. And it just breaks through every single preconceived notion that you can possibly think of. I truly wish I had more time in this video to really psychologically, give you my impressions of this movie. But let me just sum it up for you. Alien to me is an emotional experience. It's not just because it's a great horror and science fiction movie. It's not just because of the wonderful actors and the way it's directed and the way it looks and sounds. It appeals to me personally because I am curious about how deep the subconscious can go. And Alien caters to that. You need to watch this movie for yourself, all the way through, and with a very open mind. Because that way, you will be so much more open to the possibilities and the implications that this movie puts across. It's just wonderful. So, you probably didn't understand a word I was just saying, and you know what? I really don't blame you. But let me just put it this way. Alien is wonderful. Every single praise you have heard has been earned. Every single person who says that Alien is one of the finest films ever made and one of the most influential are right. This film has been countlessly imitated by so many films, but it has never been surpassed. Why? Because it is its own entity. It is a unique alien in a galaxy full of imitators. It is a standalone masterpiece. And that is why I'm going to give Alien a 5 out of 5. And now I completely hate myself for making this review because I've just rambled on and on and on, and you're probably thinking, well, shut the fuck up. Okay, in that case, yes, I will shut the fuck up. Okay, guys, well, you take care of yourself and each other, and hopefully, in my next video, you will understand every single word I'm saying. Mwah. Bye-bye.